The U.S. experienced another year of extreme weather in 2019. That's according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's annual climate assessment. The report says extreme cold temperatures and unusually heavy rains that hit the central U.S., while heat swelled across the southeast. And it was the warmest year on record in Alaska. CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardeli joins me now. So, Jeff, what stands out to you in this report, and can you go through some of the highlights?
Sure. So what really stands out, and you will remember this because we went through this for months on end, the Midwest flooding, the Mississippi Valley, Missouri River flooding. That was the real big deal of this past year. With extreme rains happening, we're going to see more of that in the future. Some of the highlights: Alaska had its hottest year ever. We did a couple of stories on that because it was astronomically hot in Alaska this year, especially at certain times of the year. Hawaii also had one of its, if not its warmest years on record as well. And the United States as a whole had its second wettest year on record. So it wasn't just the Midwest, Mississippi Valley, but that was a lot of the rain. However, the whole United States as a whole had one of its wettest years on record. As air temperatures warm up, the atmosphere can hold more moisture, and we tend to see more rainfall. And it's also due to natural patterns as well.
So tell us about some of the most significant disasters in 2019 and how much have these cost the United States?
So billion-dollar disasters. NOAA looks at the amount of billion-dollar disasters the year before, so we're now in 2020, every year, and they tabulate them. This year we've had 14, and it's cost us around $45 billion. Now, that's a lot of money, but actually it's less money than last year. That was $100 billion. And 2017, because of Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Michael, that was $300 billion. So it wasn't quite a bargain this year because it was still above normal, but it was certainly better. And the things that really stood out, again, the Midwest flooding. So to give you an idea of how historic this was, in a lot of places, it was the worst flooding on record, both along the Mississippi and especially the Missouri rivers. About 40 gauges broke records along the rivers there. We had about a million acres of farmland that was flooded. Many farmers lost their farms completely or lost the season almost completely, or at least, a compromised season. So that was really a big deal for them. And in total, that was a $20 billion tab, and I'm sure that will continue to rise. The other was Tropical Storm Imelda. You may or may not remember it, but this produced 40 inches of rain during the middle of the summer in Texas, in East Texas, same place that got hard hit by Harvey a couple of years ago. 40 inches of rain should be something that happens once every couple of hundred years, but it seems to be happening almost every couple of years in East Texas, or at least it has. I talked to Dr. Curry Emanuel. He's a climate scientist, one of the most famous in the world, and he says this was a 1 in 700 year event back in the 1980s and 1990s, and now it's a 1 in 100 year event. But in reality, the truth is it's probably once a decade or so, once every 2 decades. Or at least it's going to become that in the future.
Yeah, because that was my question. Are these kinds of extreme weather events basically going to be the new normal here moving forward?
So extreme rain events are going to be a problem in the United States in certain areas. Other places will get drier. Not every year is going to have an extreme event in the same place. And to give you an example of that, California's fires were not great this fall, but nothing compared to the year before. So when conditions are ripe for fires, those extremes will get worse and worse because of climate change. Same thing with floods. We're not going to see the same areas flood every single year. It's not going to be bad every year, but those occurrences will occur more often and become more extreme. What climate change is it takes natural patterns and adds a shot of steroids to them. And so it's basically natural weather patterns on steroids, making everything more extreme. And that gets worse and worse as air temperatures continue to rise, as we continue to release emissions from fossil fuel burning. So the more we do that, the warmer it gets, the more energy is in the system, the more extreme the weather gets.
All right, something that people really need to be aware of here moving forward. Jeff Berardeli. Jeff, thank you very much.
You're welcome.